And really, we're focusing on why confidence is such a secret to great leaders, both at work and at home. And so you talk a lot about this. And I heard you quote the Gallup research stat that said 50% of employees leave their job to get away from their manager. So it sounds to me like there is a leadership crisis out there. We've always had bad management and leaders out there.
Right.
But what do you make of all this?
Well, I think it's, science is always an interesting thing. And what I love to do is I love to take science and good research and simplify it so it's really easy for people to understand and then we know with what to do with it to make it practical, right? So for any of us that work outside of the home, we all know that boss, that manager that all of a sudden we just want to get rid of. Like we no longer want to come into the office. And so I think it's something we've always known, but I think now people are making different decisions about their career. Before it was around money and it was around status, and certainly within the next generation, they're looking more for meaning. They're looking for purpose. People want balance. So we're seeing a real shift happen in terms of how people are making decisions. And so now what's happening is people they're not going to tolerate. They're like, 70% of engagement scores is now predicted by the quality of the manager. And so for all businesses and leadership, we have to properly equip leaders and managers. Otherwise, they're going to have a major engagement and retention problem.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of leaks in employee retention and engagement. And that you're just like you mentioned, we have a buyer's and seller's market in real estate, and we're seeing that it's an employee's market today where they're getting to call the shots and go, I want flexibility. Yes. I want to do this on my terms. And so as leaders, you don't have to bend over backwards, but we have to look in the mirror and go, what's going on in our world that we can control to become better leaders so that when employees do show up, they stay.
You're absolutely right. And it's interesting because I've been doing this work for 25 years. My doctorate's in marriage and family. I actually started working with families. I'm actually a registered therapist. I worked with teenagers, millennials for the first 10 years. And in Canada, I became quite well known because my work was sponsored. I started writing books and doing television. And it was 15 years ago, George, when millennials entered the workforce, that a lot of the companies that were sponsoring my work, they started calling me saying, Karyn, you know your doctorate's in family systems. Could you take what you know from family systems and integrate it into organizational systems? Because our managers are having problems. They don't understand this next generation. People are showing up late. They're quitting. They want all this feedback. Our managers don't know what to do. And that's when I actually started shifting and expanding our work as a company to really look more at the organizational context. And it was when I started researching and looking at great leaders, great managers. What is it that makes great managers? What is it that makes great leaders? And as I looked and I dug into it, it became super clear. The secret sauce was emotional intelligence. And managers and leaders that had that, they had really great retention. And the great thing about EQ, it's learnable. We can all learn it. It's not like IQ that's more genetic. EQ is actually a set of learned skills. There's 5 core skills, and one of the core skills is confidence. And that's kind of how confidence kind of fits into this big puzzle around leadership.
Well, when you think of the word confidence, a lot of people have there's a stereotype that, leaders are just inherently confident. They make decisions quickly. They carry themselves well. But you have a different picture of what true confidence, healthy confidence in a leader looks like.
Yes. So it's interesting. So people can appear confident, okay? And you're absolutely right. So a lot of times people, and even on the TED Talk, when people were watching the TED Talk and they were actually commenting, they're like, wow, it actually makes me really start thinking about what confidence actually looks like, because people can have this persona that they're confident. And what the cool thing is about my background, because I started as a therapist and I still practice very part-time, but the thing about a counseling office is that the masks come off, okay? And all of a sudden, people that can appear very confident and very put together and these high performers, in my office, they talk about their insecurity, their imposter syndrome, their massive anxiety, their depression, their marriage falling apart. And what appears as confidence is not necessarily with what actually confidence is. And so I talk about in the TED Talk, I talk about in my book, The 3 Chairs, that real confidence is a mindset. It's the attitude that we actually have of ourselves. It's a person that thinks, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. I have strengths, but I've got weaknesses, and I'm going to lean into those weaknesses. And the secret with the confident mindset is that there's humility with it. And because of the humility, they're more open for feedback. They're more open to hear from their customer, their spouses, their children. And this has to be an ongoing discipline, really, in terms of for all of us to really kind of focus on developing confidence for ourselves, our team, actually our family as well.